Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Ichabod's House, your favorite podcast, I am sure. It's been a little bit. I am Andy here with Jen, and we've missed you all. We don't feel like we aren't even going to talk about it. We think that we have everything good and we're all fine and all is well and dandy. Right, Jen?
I'm going to talk about it. My internet went down and I was without it for 9 days, which is a huge amount of time. And I'm still not emotionally recovered from that. I just want to say.
Yeah,
you got CenturyLink. I'm just saying.
You did get CenturyLink, or that's what you had?
That's what we have still.
Well, we never had any problems when we had CenturyLink.
We did. But I'm back.
Yes, so, and you're all the more prepared for a zombie apocalypse should it happen. Yes, you know you can survive without internet.
I can. I did.
Yeah, so we had a lot of technical difficulty prior to that, so it's been a long while since we have recorded. But we are happy to be here and thrilled that we are videoing this for the first time as well. And so hopefully this all turns out.
It should. I have a new computer. We have a new podcast recording company that we're using. Yeah. And so there you go.
Yeah, I think it'll all be good.
It will be good.
So we have a Google and Beyond.
Do you want to maybe talk about what episode we're on and the title of it? And it's been so long.
Yes, clearly I'm jumping all over the place.
You are.
This is the Dodleston Messages Part 3 that we are on today. I'll pluck your pelf if you pluck mine. I'm not plucking anything of yours. Maybe your eyebrows if you need some help. Maybe some hair above your upper lip if that's needed. You don't really ever have a problem with that, but if it needed plucking, I would do that for you.
Thank you.
I'm a giver, Jen, but I'm not touching anyone's pelf. But we did learn that plucking the pelf is actually a phrase used by Shakespeare in a sonnet, means obtaining money. In light of Lukas's report of being accused of pickpocketing and being thrown in a dungeon, this would make sense that he would use it in a poem. The phrase occurred in the final stanza of a poem we shared with you last week, courtesy of Lukas, which we later found out isn't actually his name. Mm-hmm. Yet at parting she did sweetly smile in scorn of friendship, will not tell me whether it may be again to make me wander thither. Wander, the word foreshadows like myself. Is that supposed to be word or world?
World.
I just thought, how can you wander a word? I don't know. Wander the world for shadows like myself who take the pain but cannot pluck the pelf.
There you go.
There you go. So anyway, that's about the plucking of the pelf, means that you are a pickpocket.
I liked our imagined meanings better, I just want to say. It seemed like they were a lot more fun.
Well, and kind of like mesmerizing. We've kind of given that a whole new meaning as well. I like the liberties that we take with the English language.
True.
And so feel confident that we will continue to do so.
Yes.
Ichabod's nose. What do you got?
Well, I'm eating popcorn right now, so excuse me, viewers, but I haven't had breakfast and I need a little nourishment. I have the show Paper Girls, which is on Amazon Prime, and it's about 4 girls in 1988 who have a paper route, and they get abducted and they travel through time to the year 1999. And so they kind of go back and forth through time a little bit. There's time people trying to kill them. It's pretty interesting. So if you get a chance, watch that because it's really good.
That sounds very interesting.
Girl power.
Right? Okay, cool. I like it. I have several because we haven't done this in so long, but I will just do I'll do two. Okay.
There you go.
Have you seen Uncoupled with Neil Patrick Harris on Netflix?
No, it's on my to watch list.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Watch it. It's just a rom-com series about him, getting out of this relationship. It kind of blindsides him that his relationship is over. They've been together for 15 years or something like that. And anyway, it's just really, really, really good. Also, the show Echoes. Have you seen that? I think this is on Netflix as well. You seen it?
I saw the trailer for it.
Yeah, it's
Looks
about
really
identical twins who every year on their birthday switch places. And the stuff that happens after that and because of that and all the things. It's so good. It's so
Nice.
good. It's amazing. And I think it's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
It is. Yep, it's Netflix.
So, yeah. So I highly, highly recommend both of those shows.
Okay.
And I think that everybody should appreciate me that I am willing to sit on my butt and binge watch hours of TV to give you these recommendations.
You are a giver, for sure.
I really am. It's true. Okay. And now we have some giveaway info.
We got one Lion Planner left. One. So if you want it, you're going to need to email me and let me know you want it at ichabodshousepod@gmail.com. And shout out to Dennis in Ireland and his little ones. Dennis is a listener we have over there. I think he said Wessex, but I can't remember. So Dennis, if I said that wrong, I apologize. I would send you a planner just for being awesome if it didn't involve over air postage because I'm poor-ish. But I will say that he's awesome. He is an amazing guy, and we want to thank him for listening. So thanks, Dennis.
Absolutely. We love our Irish fans.
We do love our Irish fans, and they forgive us for our horrible Irish accents, which are probably moderately insulting to them. At any rate,
no doubt. Yeah.
We have so that email is working. People email me and let me know you've liked us on Facebook, you've liked Lion Planner, and you've rated us, and I will send you a planner. If you're in the lower 48 states, I probably should clarify that. Perhaps at one point in time, we'll make enough money to send things all over the world or and deliver them even, but we're not there yet.
We are so not there yet, but our dream is to someday be there for sure.
Anyway.
And you can also use that email. We still are planning, have been getting emails in with real life stories, listener stories about paranormal happenings. And we still want those to be coming in because we want to do listener episodes. So if you've had an experience, we would love, love, love to hear from you.
Okay. So are we ready to get this party started?
Let's get it started.
Okay. I'm going to put my popcorn down so that I'm not chewing.
I'm going to pick one up. Yeah, you did. You did. Totally did. Your mouth is little, but boy, it can make big noises.
It can make big noises.
I'm just saying.
All right. Well, as you will recall from last month's episode, John Stiles of the SPR had told Deb and Ken they needed to work to prove that the whole messages from the 16th century thing wasn't a hoax. So that's what the couple set out to do.
What are you drinking over there? It's only 9:30 a.m.
I can't tell you. It's classified.
So Deb's mom and brother came to visit and witnessed a message on the computer, although they didn't read it. Interestingly, Deb left the room while the message appeared on the computer. She had to use the bathroom, so left the computer open and waited for a file name to appear. Might not mean anything, but it does make Jen suspicious, for sure.
So they didn't read the message. They don't know what it said. Deb's just like, oh, there's a message there. You guys better leave. Bye-bye. And they left. So also, she wasn't in the room at the time the message appeared. And
Right.
I don't know. I'm just saying, get a little whiff of feces there, a little whiff of the BS.
Right.
Anyway,
No, for sure.
it very much makes me suspicious. Also, Deb shared another vision with Ken and explained how she saw Lukas behaving badly toward a woman who was apparently unable to see Deb, despite Deb allegedly standing in the middle of a kitchen in 1521. And also, remember Lukas's friend John showed up and took a turn at the computer. So now the jig is up. The cat is out of the bag. The beans have been spilled. The secret is out. What will happen next? Well, we are here to tell you that.
We are, but I do have a question.
Okay.
Was Ken plucking the Pelf? Or was Lukas plucking the Pelf? If he was behaving badly towards a woman.
No, because technically, if it's consensual, plucking the pelf is not behaving badly. Might be just what she asked for. But I believe he was yelling at her. And we went over that in the
That's the behaving
episode.
badly.
Yes, we went over that. Remember, he dragged her over and demanded she look and see Deb.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay. So the day after the visit from Deb's mom, Ken returned to the school with a printout of the latest message from Lukas for Peter to look over. The following week, Ken checked out another computer to take home. This time, he invited Frank Davies, one of the guys from his car club, to come to the house and repeat the test that they had done with Deb's mom and brother. Because nothing proves you're a paranormal investigator like your car club membership card. Agreed with that.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So on Friday, April 19th, Frank Davies headed to the cottage. The group commenced communication. They cracked their knuckles and clacked out a message on the screen. When they were satisfied that they sounded both intelligent and trustworthy, the group left the house to give the people in 1521 some privacy so they could talk about how they wanted to respond. When the group returned, the following message was on the computer.
You are a foolish scoundrel who has brought nothing less than evil upon the wretch. I hope he comes to no harm, for I guarantee your death by my own hand some way. It was not to be avoided with your charm of lights, and now he sits in this shameful dungeon. It will be your own ruin. Unless you help Lukas, he will die. If you reveal yourselves to the crown for what you are and display your devilish powers, then his life is saved. Reveal the truth and give no false threats, and explain what is the need of the I didn't mean to do that. Reveal the truth and give no false threats, and explain what is the need of the computer. Friend.
So, if you go to the crown and want to display your magic powers in 1521, I imagine it's something like, yeah, da 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 da, yeah, da 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 da, yeah, da 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 da, yeah, da da da, like that. And then they're dazzled and won't behead your friend. So,
That
if
or
anybody goes
math.
back, oh yes, true. That is sorcery for sure. All right. Well, what
sure.
fresh hell was this? Lukas, it appeared, had been arrested and tossed in a dungeon. What were they to do? How could they help Lukas from their separation in time of 400 years? These were the questions that had potential to keep Ken and Deb up at night. So, after some consideration and worry, Ken wrote back, Dear friend, if your time be to come, then that which I have spoken be true. Let Lukas write to me tomorrow, so that I might know why he suffers. If I am to help, I must know his true call.
Well, that was nice.
That was nice.
It was nice, simple. Well, no one responded. Apparently, they didn't think it was very nice.
Mm-mm.
Ken and Deb waited and waited. Then they left the cottage again because privacy, and drove around for several hours. Still nothing. So they wrote again, asking why no one was corresponding with them. Again, silence. And then, finally, on April 21st, John, Lukas's friend, wrote back. He brought news that now, due to all this future communication bullshit that was going on, that the sheriff decided he was going to get involved. It was short notice, and the sheriff was very busy. But when someone from the future is sending notes through time onto something called a computer, you make the time.
You sure do.
Yeah.
So John said, what kind of accent should John have?
It could be Irish. You could attempt that if you wanted.
Har to tar to tar. I have. Don't take har to tar to tar. Don't take me lucky charms. I have spoken. No, I can't do it. How about German? I have spoken with this sheriff who says you ask him to come at short notice, but he will come tomorrow. You have asked the name of Lukas Wainman. For reasons I do not understand. His name is unknown to me. Now I'm just doing superhero villain accent.
I was going to say, I don't think that's German.
My dog is here beside me, if anybody's wondering what I'm doing. I hastened to ask him this, but he said he could not tell, unless it be to your ear alone. He said, if this is what is to help my friend, then I will hasten to press the matter to him. The sheriff told me that if you can show yourselves for what you are, then you must give the mighty power to him. And he will request pardon for our friend Lukas, and he will beg the king himself to speak with you and your king. This is a thing the sheriff himself has not had the pleasure of. Thank you.
Well, I would just like to say hello and welcome and how do you do to all of you who have joined us today from Jen's brain. This is going to be really a lot of fun.
That's
How
what
many
we
people
call-
are in there?
That's what we call the accent sampler. Say hello to my little friend. Yes. That's the accent sampler. Okay. None of them really make sense. It's just...
It's all good fun. It's all good fun. I like it. All right. Well, WTF, or where's the freight? Seriously.
Where's the freight?
So there's no way to determine where exactly Lukas is. No one has asked where the location of the dungeon is, so that, I don't know, records might be checked, and conveniently no one can determine Lukas's real name. It sort of reminds me of the Lanulosian named Daryl and his other brother Daryl.
Uh-huh.
Also,
let's not forget Buell Dean from Lanulos.
That Buell just Dean. Sounds made up. Seriously. Also, it sounds like the sheriff is sort of angling for an audience with the king, most likely looking for a promotion of some sort, or maybe just a good meal.
Oh, could be. Some pheasant, perhaps.
Yeah.
Well, Frank Davies, he's with the SPR, remember. He returned to the cottage on April 22nd to help with gathering more evidence, proving... Oh, wait. Who's Frank Davies? Is he... Is he SPR?
He just popped out to say hi. Hi, Frank. It's been a while. Welcome to the show.
Okay, Frank, it has been a while, and I apologize to our audience. Frank Davies is either with the Car Club or the SPR. I think he's Car Club. Oh, yes, he's Car Club. Okay. Frank is Car Club. Okay. Frank Davies returned, whoever he is, returned to the cottage on April 22nd to help with gathering more evidence proving that the messages from 1521 were not a hoax. The group was still really hoping to get the SPR to come and perform a complete investigation. So they were pressing on, continuing to gather evidence in their unmonitored cottage as they left messages on the screen and drove away.
Okay. So Frank came to the cottage to gather more evidence. How does that prove that they weren't a hoax?
I think they were going for a witness.
Oh, okay.
You know
I
how
didn't know.
sometimes when you're doing something and you're like to somebody, you got to see this shit. I kind of think that when Ken was writing this book, he's kind of like, yeah, I had people come over and check it out.
Got you.
I don't know that the car club guy can really offer a whole lot in the way of evidence gathering and expertise, but he's there as a potential witness to drive away and not be there to observe the computer or anything happening there because they just
Got it.
watch what happens when we leave this house. Just watch.
Just you wait and see.
It's kind of like how I'll look over my shoulder and I'll see Pearl laying in the chair behind me. And then I'll go upstairs and there'll be a whole roll of toilet paper magically chewed up on the floor. And I'm pretty sure someone is getting into my house and doing that because it's not my dog, because I looked and she was right there behind me.
Because she was right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I don't
makes
know.
sense. Makes
Weird.
sense. I get it. Yeah. Okay, nothing guarantees a legit message like an unmonitored computer. Well,
That's
when
sarcasm for those of you who are wondering. Sarcasm.
I think if they are longtime listeners, they know that.
Okay.
Hold on. I gotta take a drink.
Okay. Do, 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 do.
It's gonna be interesting if people like the video version of us.
They're probably going to be annoyed as hell and we'll lose listeners by
Probably
the billions.
just gonna stick with the Spotify version.
Probably.
Okay. Nothing guarantees a legit message like an unmonitored computer. Well, when nothing showed up, they decided to try again the next day. Once again, Frank Davies showed up to help, and this time they decided maybe they should stick around. If what is that supposed to say?
1521.
If 1521 couldn't type without privacy, maybe they needed to find another sap from the 16th century who could. Okay, so if someone in 1521 couldn't type without privacy.
You know, if you would just insert things that I was thinking of a month ago when I wrote this, instead of embarrassing me on YouTube in front of all our fans, that would be really nice.
Okay.
God damn it.
Redo that. I'm going to redo it. I know. Fuck. Okay,
God
I'm
damn
so
it.
sorry. All right. Jen has written a lovely sentence, which has all the words that are supposed to be in there. If someone in 1521 couldn't type without privacy, maybe they needed to find another sap from the 16th century who could. But as luck would have it, at 8 o'clock, Frank noticed a drop in temperature in the cottage. Dun, dun, dun. This lasted a few minutes and then normalized. Since any ghost hunter worth his salt knows that a drop in temperature goes hand in hand with paranormal activity, the group headed to the kitchen to check the computer and were gratified to discover a brand new message. And they celebrated by plucking the pelf. I mean, no.
They had a little pelf plucking circle. They just got in a circle and everybody plucked each other's pelfs. Okay. This message, oops. Professional. I can edit that out, I think. I'm going to edit that out. No one's going to
stop laughing then so you can edit. Okay. Go and go.
This message was once again from John, and naturally, we'd like to be able to assure you that this was actually truly his real name, but since he'd already indicated that giving a real name was apparently not the fashion in 1521, we don't actually know who the hell this guy was. But he had a message from the sheriff, which apparently made him somewhat of a big deal. There's a lot of this going on. He explained that the cottage crew was going to need to talk to the sheriff in person because for whatever reason, the sheriff couldn't see the computer from the eyeballs he was using back in 1521. Andy's crying. I made her cry. Good. I warned you.
I know. Well, this is true. Apparently, the computer was only solid when Lukas was around. Well, that's convenient for Lukas. If the cottage crew couldn't speak to the sheriff in person, then the computer was going to have to be taken to Nanwich or Boughton prison in order to prove it was a real thing that Lukas could communicate on. And suddenly, they knew where Lukas was. Well, yeah. But still, no one checked on prison records from the time or researched this, at least not that is recorded in the source material.
Yeah. So, I mean, they give there. Here's these messages that this couple receives that they're the only ones who ever reported on it. They're the only ones who ever documented it.
Right.
And first, they don't. Oh, this gets so good. This gets so good as time goes on. Seriously. I can't even. At any rate, they
Can you hear them?
who? Kids? No. No.
Okay, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
So nobody checks anything. They don't verify things through records or research, which really annoys me and I find suspect in their
Yeah,
reporting. And I don't know if they're just lazy and think this should all speak for itself, but you cannot make a claim like this and then not back it up with research and dates and proof. And they
clearly
haven't.
yellow journalism was rampant in the
Well,
16th
clearly,
century.
you could pretty much say whatever, or even the 20th century when
Yes.
Ken is writing this freaking thing. So I have to,
Oh, yeah.
I have to really say that things don't smell fabulous at this point in time. So,
I agree.
all right. Oh, it's me. So people are going to say, gee, you guys are doing awesome on your YouTube channel with all the quality video
Can you
you're putting
pause
out.
for just a moment?
I
I'm
can
so
pause.
sorry.
Hold on, I'm going to press
Can you
pause.
hear them?
Okay, so let's back up for just a tick to the information we just received regarding the solidity of the computer. John was going to need to move the computer because the sheriff couldn't see it. This begs the question, how the fuck was John communicating with them now if the computer was only solid when Lukas was around? So we're going to need to legit our bullshit right now because we just need to. This is all just super stupid.
I agree. John's story is holding no water here because
Mm-mm.
he's just slipping and sliding everywhere.
It makes no sense. There's so many things that don't make sense with this that we're asked to just accept as this really happens. This person can see the computer. This person can't. This person can touch the computer. This person can't. Now we're going to move this whole computer in 1521 to the prison so that John can type on it. It doesn't make any sense. It's all just, I don't know. Anyway,
I agree. I think there's a lot of holes in their story, and I'm not buying it, Jen. I'm not buying it.
yes, my bullshit meter is tipping over to the super lame
Right.
side.
No, I agree. Okay, so we're both leaning to bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So to recap, the sheriff can't see the computer. Apparently, John, if that's his real name, can see it and can type on it. Well, obviously, there was no way to move the computer to another location. That wasn't going to be possible, given that there were no electrical outlets in dungeons in 1521. So Ken explained that the computer simply couldn't be moved. If they moved it, it would likely disappear. It was a conundrum. So everyone waited, hoping against all hope that somehow Lukas would be let out on bail or maybe just get probation or something. He must have had a good attorney because the very next day, Lukas was miraculously back at the computer, despite the fact that it would take a day to travel by horse from the jail back to the cottage.
It's incredible. It was amazing. It was
was amazing. It's amazing.
It was amazing. But what did it matter if this was possible or not? Lukas was back, and everyone was happy. Lukas was so excited to be there, and he was so eager to explain his misfortunes. My good friend, I know not where I can start to describe my misfortunes, but it is so good that I can have your true words once more, which I did not think to hear again. I have thought much of what you said, and about the box of lights, for it is this very matter I fear for my life. The sheriff has forbidden me to leave my house, and I am guarded by the sheriff's men, who are at each door. But he agreed that I should be left to myself. I think we are a history book that has its front and back pages joined together. That is a weird thing, but that's what I think is happening. We are each a side of it. The voice comes not from my time nor your time, but from God, as if it were a guide for some purpose. We are in God's book. Come on, Andy. You're Lukas now.
I can see what is to come. Oh, that's perfect. I can see what is to come and what has been. You can only see what has been because you suck. When your box came, there was a verse on it that said, I was not to ask about your unnatural knowledge, for the box of lights will be no more. It was in my language. My fellow Peter could not have done the writing so true as this was. I think you do not know about this. I have told the sheriff that though I have seen you and your sweet maid many times, one cannot speak with them, nor can I either, and never had. But I said, you are of strange description and appearance, that it would frighten any man to see you. I told him it is not too wise. Nonetheless, I am still to satisfy his demands before the 7th day. I know not who betrayed me and accused me, but I know you are my true friends for whom I have much love. You would not do this to me and betray the trust we have.
And I sure hope you didn't betray me, because I know a guy who'll come break your fucking thumbs if you did.
I have some backup horse heads that are ready to splay in your bed of straw.
Also,
Any
I
given
could pluck your fair maid's pelf better than you can. I'm just saying, I've been watching that shit, and you leave a lot to be desired.
All right. So there's more to this letter, but I believe we've included the salient information. The most interesting of which is that Lukas had received a message on the machine that wasn't from Ken, and that this message said that if Lukas spoke to Ken about unnatural knowledge from the future, the box would disappear. So later, Lukas wrote this very interesting message. You said,
You said your time is 1985. I thought you were also from 2109, like your friend who brought the box of lights.
What the what? So now we have 1521, 1985, and 2109.
Well, this is curiouser and curiouser. What rabbit hole are you taking us down, girlfriend?
I'm just a traveler. I'm just a traveler in the hole.
We're deep.
I don't know if that's something we want to go with. Just a traveler in the hole or deep in the Pelf. I think we just need to leave those alone.
Okay.
There's a lot that could be said right there, but yeah, okay.
Indeed.
So, what was going on? Was Lukas receiving messages from 2 time periods in the future? How incredible! How odd! How unlikely! But there it was in black and white. I thought you were from 2109, like your friend who brought the box of lights.
Okay, so now I'm noticing two things. Lukas is referring to the computer as a box of lights, when prior to his dungeon adventure, he called it a computer. So this is interesting to me, but he's also now changing the narrative or adding to it. I'm wondering why he's mentioning 2109 now. Is it because he's pissed that he went to jail? I don't know. I don't know why he's bringing it up now. Maybe he feels like he's got nothing to lose.
Maybe somebody walked through a fireplace in the dungeon from 2109.
Maybe someone did and said, "You can go ahead and talk about it now. It's okay."
Right. So this was interesting to be sure, and I know exactly where I'm at and didn't lose my place at all.
No, you didn't.
Ken and Deb were fascinated and a bit nervous. And so, just as they had reached out to the past and discovered their friend Lukas, they reached out to the year 2109 to see if perhaps they could get someone from that time period sent to the dungeon as well. So, Ken wrote this: calling 2109, and then waited.
A while later, they received this message from the distant future. Ken.
Get out! Get out!
Yes, they did. From the future.
Oh my gosh. All right, go ahead.
From the distant future. Ken, Deb, Peter, we are sorry that we can give you only two choices. That you either have your predicament explained in such a non-rhyme way that you may have instant understanding, but cause what should be to happen, or try to understand that you three have a purpose that shall in your lifetime change the face of history. We 2109 must not affect your thoughts directly, but give you some sort of guidance that will allow room for your own destiny. All we can say is that we are all part of the same God, whatever he or it is.
First of all, we all know that God is female, creator of life, goes without saying. Second, we should point out that there were several spelling errors in this. Yeah, I started to twitch a little.
Huh? I know.
Also, the word effect should have been used instead of affect. One would think that anyone from the future capable of communicating with not one but two time periods would be able to spell. Agreed.
Right. Unless Urban Dictionary is the leading source of spelling and definition, which could be. I just learned that the word nickelback can be used as a verb according to the Urban Dictionary. So like it kind of means like if your ears are bleeding, you can say my right ear was nickelbacking real bad, so the nurse sent me home. Same.
Okay. There you go.
Nickelback is
right.
A horrible band. Anyway,
apparently.
So here is where it gets interesting. Remember, the first message Ken and Deb got was when their friend Nick was staying with them way back 3 years ago when we first started this series. We reviewed this in the first episode. Yes, like I said. But for completeness sake, here is the poem again.
Okay. Ken, Deb, Nick. Oh, is this from Lukas?
This is from the first episode. It's a
right, but was Lukas typing it? Do I need to speak? We
don't know.
Lukas is what I'm saying.
So remember, the first message Ken and Deb got was when their friend Nick was staying with them. We reviewed this in the first episode, but for completeness sake, here's the poem again. We don't know. It could be. I'm wondering if it's from the future. So we don't know. You just have to read the poem.
Oh, that's what you're going with. All right. See, I love to read what's in there. But sometimes I need to get it out. See what you're thinking. Okay, got it. Ken Deb Nick. True are the nightmares of a person that fears. Safe are the bodies of the silent world. Turn, pretty flower, turn towards the Sunday, for you shall grow and sow. But the flower reaches too high and withers in the burning blight. Get out your bricks. Pussycat, pussycat, went to London to seek fame and fortune. Faith must not be lost, for this shall be your redeemer.
Okay, so here, if you would just trust the script. I don't know why you think you can't trust the script, Andy. I don't know why. What have I ever done?
I just wanted to know what accent to have.
I don't know. You know, it's not like I've ever screwed up, ever. All right. Well, so here is, if Andy had just kept her pants on, is the next phrase, the next paragraph, which is mine. Okay, remember that poem? Well, it turns out it wasn't from Lukas, but was from the year 2109. Miss Spoiler Alert Pants over there. And Lukas had also received a poem of his own. Many a year ago since your day, this knack is not incitement to evil, but the opposite of that. An angel of good fortune for those who shine, whatever be your motive. Questions about important manners from the three that shine, who nonetheless you have seen will cause the box of lights to be no more. Such conduct, that be your correction. For an easy death is near for a friend of a wise man who chooses. The foul man must see the king to tell him of the cat that frightened a mouse and cure your sickness. Each of you men that have understanding, I do not doubt that your prayers shall be answered, so that you may teach wisdom unto the foolish. Be wary, my friend, of your lust. The pudding may burn.
If I had a nickel for every time the pudding burned.
This is why Belle Gunness makes cream pudding. It's not as likely to burn. Remember how she lured all those men with her?
She did. Okay, so regardless of what we think of all this, the issue that Ken and Deb seemed to feel was most pressing was that Lukas's life was in serious danger. And the poems or communications from 2109 were obscure and mysterious. They were filled with warnings and concern for doom if specific instructions weren't followed. Ken and Deb were seriously worried, so they gave Peter a call and asked him to come right away because there was a time-traveling emergency at hand.
There seriously was. Peter arrived at the cottage to review the latest messages. The crew stayed up all night sorting through previous communication from Lukas in the hope that there might be some clue of how to intervene with the sheriff or the crown in order to save their friend. Peter recalled a reference in one of the earliest messages to Bishop Man. Man had he was a superhero in 1521. He was called Bishop Man, and he would have been able to run really fast, except he had this really big, oddly shaped hat on, and that slowed him down because it kept blowing off anytime he tried to run. Anyway, he had apparently been in touch with an enemy of the crown, the Maid of Kent, Elizabeth Barton.
If I was going to have a title, and it was the Maid of Kent, I would just say, hey, just call me Elizabeth. Do we really need to say I'm a maid? Do we need to, shout that out?
Really?
I'm just saying. She could be at a ball. The Maid of Kent, as they get announced when they come in.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Okay. The group figured that if they could get a message to the king about this treasonous communication between this Elizabeth Barton and Bishop Man, then perhaps Lukas would be spared or cleared or forgiven or something. So they wrote to Lukas and explained their plan. If Lukas could get the sheriff to carry this information to the king, everything would be okay. Maybe.
So apparently the bishop was not allowed to communicate with this maid. And so I have to wonder if he implied he would pluck her pelf or something in the communication. You know what I'm saying? Because Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to. It sounds like they're going to blackmail him, is what is happening.
Yeah.
And nothing risky about that for Lukas at all.
Goodness sakes.
Anyway, yes, the next day, the 29th of April, they apparently expected to hear back because the border of England and Wales is really close to London, where the king lives, maybe. So remember, Dodleston is way down in the south part of England, and London is way up, not in the south part of England. Oh my God. So I did some Googling. Dodleston is 200 miles from London. If you take a bus, they didn't have these in 1521, it would take about 4 hours to get from Dodleston to Buckingham Palace. If you walk, it takes 2 days. If you ride a bike, it takes 19 hours.
Okay. Biking's the way to go if you live in 1521.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they had bikes then. Probably not.
Probably not.
Okay. I'm not sure how the sheriff would have gotten to London, but I'm guessing it wasn't by bus for sure. And so let's take a second here to just legit or bullshit once again. And before you get all, you guys are being too skeptical again, let me point out to you that they did hear from Lukas again on the 29th, which would have been logistically impossible considering that the sheriff would have had to travel the requisite 200 miles to meet with the king. Okay, so basically we're still leaning towards bullshit.
Well, I don't know. There is some speculation on what is happening here as far as dimensions that people can be in, and I'll get into that probably a little more in the next episode. But logistically, if they are traveling parallel in time, if 1521 is traveling parallel with 1985, then time should be moving at the same pace in both places. And if someone is traveling to and from a prison or whatever, that should take the same amount of time it would in 1985 at least.
Right.
And the same with traveling to and from London. Unless there's something dimensional or time travel-y happening. I mean, if we're suspending disbelief enough to go with, hey, messages from 1521 are coming through on our computer, then I guess we should be able to suspend disbelief enough to go, you know what? It's totally possible that they can travel to London and back in a day in 1521, which I'm having a hard time doing. But
it's called a portal, Jen. It's called a portal.
There you go. So people are portaling all over the place.
I think so.
All right. Let's continue. Now that Lukas had received miraculous time-traveling word from the sheriff about his fate, he sent a message to Ken and Deb. He was to appear before the judge, who would outline what was to become of him. He begged them to remember the good times, and then quoted the lyrics to cotton commercials, the touch, the feel, the fabric of our lives. And then later he wrote this: "Not to go forwards is to go back to the moment of death."
Is that really deep or really bullshitty? I don't know.
I don't know either. Either way, it smells.
Right. It does smell. There was nothing to do now but wait. They'd contacted the future, 2109, but that hadn't been much help. It turned out time cops didn't really exist, and Lukas was in need of the ability to prove he wasn't a witch enmeshed in a web of sorcery with a strange box of lights dwelling in his kitchen.
The silence stretched. April rolled over into May. Work on the cottage in 1985 continued, and then at last, on May 5th, strange markings appeared in chalk on the kitchen floor. Peter was summoned to read them. Patris, nimium postulus Lukac mortem obit mortem sibi concivitidi te era, which translated as, Peter, You ask too much. Furthermore, Lukas went to his death. He brought death upon himself. The gods will... something. The last word cannot be interpreted. Go ahead, Andy. Anytime. Anytime.
Yelling at my children through text. I don't know if you can hear them singing, but they're singing something. I don't know what it is, so I wanted to tell them to shut the fuck up.
I can't hear them, but I'm old and deaf.
Okay. Well, this is true. Okay. So this was just annoying. What the hell did it mean? What were they supposed to think? There was only one thing to do, Jen. Check out the computer once again to see if they could figure out what had happened to Lukas. I am thinking maybe they just should have gone to Radio Shack and bought one.
Did they have Radio Shacks in England?
I don't know. I'm sure they had something that existed like it.
Probably. Okay.
Anybody from England, let us know if there were Radio Shacks in the 1980s.
To our listeners in the UK. And here's something I want to know. I see Tesco mentioned a lot in books. What is Tesco? I wonder if that's like our Costco. And could you buy a computer at Tesco? Could you buy a computer at Costco? I'm probably the only woman in America who's never been to Costco.
I haven't been to Costco either, ever.
Okay, good.
Yeah, never been there.
All right. So they got a computer again from the school. And they received a one-word message initially, iridescent. After some mental juggling, the group determined that the word iridescent was supposed to be the last word in the phrase they found on the floor. Its placement at the end would change the words to Peter. You ask too much. Furthermore, Peter went to his death, brought death upon himself. The gods will root you out, is what it meant. The gods will root you out, is what
Peter went to his death, or Lukas went to his death?
Lukas went to his death.
Okay.
Yeah, Lukas is dead. Lukas died.
Well, there was no climax for that. I feel very cheated right now.
And they got word he's dead, and it's your fault for putting the computer. And they didn't have anything to do with that. So it's 50. If anybody's fault, it's 2109's fault. Whoever 2109 is.
Agreed. All right, so that happened, and then nothing else. Ken wrote back demanding to know who was playing with the damned chalk on the kitchen floor and who the hell was responsible for the current message and what the hell did it even mean. Still nothing until 6 days later, on May 11th, they got this. Not enough power. Ken didn't know what this meant, so he asked, "Explain. Can we help? Name power source, please, Ken."
The next message was, "Go to sleep." Now you'll sleep. Poppies. Poppies. So Ken and Deb did as the computer instructed, as any rational person would do. Because if some stranger just types on my Facebook message, "Jen, go to sleep," I'm like, on it. I'm there. Done. So they went to bed early. And when they got up in the morning, the only word on the screen was alone. Like go to sleep alone, I think, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, wait a minute. Now you're telling me I can't even sleep with my partner? What? Okay. So Ken wrote back, "Who? Me? Her?" And the computer deleted the word "me," which meant, you guessed it, they wanted Deb to go to sleep alone. Well, honestly, what could they do? I know when I get a Facebook message telling me I need to go to bed alone, I do it. No questions asked.
Yeah, I can't tell you the number of times I've gotten a message like that. Is it weird? Yeah, absolutely. But I do it because my computer tells me to. And I think we should all do whatever our computers or phones tell us to.
Listen, AI is the way to go. Should run all of our lives.
Go to bed alone, Deb. Go to bed alone. And she's like,
no plucking the pelf though while you're in there.
I swear to God, nothing happened. I swear to God, I just was up there alone. No one from 1521 walked out of the wall. It was all good. I feel so, I don't know, refreshed, rested, loose. My muscles are all loose. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know what happened.
Um, so it's my turn.
Anytime. Yeah, anytime,
Okay.
Andy.
Well, if you're wanting the nitty gritty on Deb sleeping alone in her room with the kinky computer in the kitchen, prepare to be disappointed. Nothing else happened. We can only assume someone set up a camera in their room hoping to get some naked pics they could one day post on the internet when it came into existence. But even that, we have to admit, is pure speculation. This reminds me of remember when we did Amityville?
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, the mom, had to go nap,
Mm-hmm.
and something
Laid on her.
was with her, and she woke up so refreshed.
I don't know what it was, but
That was the best nap ever.
that was the best nap I ever had in my life. I had to go outside and smoke a cigarette on the porch, and whew, I feel still a little bit dizzy and lightheaded, but just all loose and
Nap again, real quick. Yeah,
I'm
that's what that
so
reminds me of.
relaxed. Okay. Instead, okay, it wasn't until May 12th that another message appeared, and it was for Peter. Peter, you are devoting nights and days to your investigations. This is what he wishes for himself. That trick of yours does not deceive me.
Oh, well, getting a little salty, this computer messaging is. Peter was all like, WTF, and had no idea what the computer was talking about. And to make things still more confusing, this message appeared. First, what help do you require? If you wish to know Lukas Wainman's true name, we can say no more than the man named Peter has it, page 26.
I know, it's so stupid.
Okay, hold on. I'm so sorry. That's funny. That's making me choke. The person who you refer to as John is not to be trusted. Also, there is nothing to fear outside man, true, but you are not fully capable of knowing just what man really is without knowledge. You have fear. With fear, you create your own nightmares. Wow, this is very philosophical.
I know, it's like a slumber party where the girls are all smoking weed and bitching about why they hate debate club. It doesn't make any sense. Ken's response to this was to send another message to 2109 because why not? 2109. There are many disturbances. Can you indicate the source? We must know a little more of Lukas. Which village or town did he come from precisely? Did he go on trial in Chester or Nantwich? Thank you for the riddles. They are so hard. King? Mouse? A little more help, please. Ken.
Soon another message came through, and although they couldn't be sure who it came from, they thought it was likely the so-called friend who went by the name of John, the one that 2109 said they shouldn't trust. My friend, thou must give thy computer and thy power to mine self, or else ye wilt have none of my words about thy friend Lukas.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a little bit. Peter, as an Oxford man, was heavily into researching this stuff, like heavily into it. During the course of the investigation, he had been in touch with a librarian named Robin Pedell. After much poring over letters and other records, Robin came across the name Thomas Hawarden.
Why did you giggle at that?
It's a funny name.
Sometimes you are a 7th grade boy.
I am a 7th grade boy.
Okay, this dude, Robin said, could be who Lukas actually was. Oh.
Mm.
Lukas could have been his alter ego, his nom de plume, as it were. Because, once again, it should be noted that people from the 1500s apparently didn't give their real names for whatever reason. Identity theft, Jen. I've told you.
Jesus.
It's a real thing.
Apparently so. Nevertheless, the investigation was to continue. And at this point, I think we can all agree that it needed to continue because what the hell was even happening? Now we had another time period involved. And was Lukas really dead? What was going on? All the group could do was hope that the SPR would finally show up and give them a hand.
Exactly. And that is where we will leave it today, my friends. We still have one planner left to give away, so if you want it, come and get it. We'd love to hear from you. Send us a message through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Reach out to us by email at ichabodshousepod@gmail.com, and that's where you also need to email us and let us know if you want the planner. We're pretty good about responding. And thanks for listening.
You make every episode a pleasure. We love doing this work. We love all of you. This will be the first episode up with us, our faces on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on Spotify and you want to know what Andy looks like in the morning, go ahead and check it out. Spoiler alert, she's gorgeous.
I put on lipstick today and deodorant. I didn't even need to do that because it's video, but I did it.
I did too. Sometimes I can't remember if I did or not.
Sure.
So I end up with like 8 coats of it on.
Right.
Because I'm so afraid of stinking. Anyway,
Yeah,
I want to assure all our listeners, neither of us smells bad. So feel free.
Right. Feel free to listen.
Feel free to listen, check in, see what we look like. We love you all. And remember, Ichabod loves you.
Carry a flashlight and always bring extra pants.